That's what happens. That's what apparently happens. And it's just naturally whole and complete. It's everything, so to speak. And it's everything in a sense that it's whole and complete. There isn't any additional finding or any additional arriving. And that would be the idea coming from the separate person, that what is isn't everything, and that I can somehow make it everything for me. Everything in a sense that I am completely happy, that I become a consciously happy, fulfilled person. That's basically the dream. And it's based on an illusion, one could say. And the illusion is that there is separation, that there is someone who's separate. And part of that dream is that what happens is not everything. What happens, what apparently happens, including oneself, is not complete. Seen from the person, this seems to be a felt experience. Most people just feel as if something is missing. For the person, it seems to feel utterly real, the need to become one again, the longing for something real, the longing for true happiness, the longing for all those things, seen from the person, can be felt very deeply, those needs, these longings. And most, or what the person tries to do, is to somehow fulfill that longing or find an answer. Basically, it tries to create an experience of having arrived. It wants to replace the experience of unfulfillment by an experience of fulfillment. And that's basically what all it's seeking is about. I do something in order to get a result. And of course, in order for the result be worthwhile, I need to be there and observe it or have it or own it or gain it. In that sense, there's nothing wrong with that. If that is what's going on, that's what's going on. If that is what apparently happens, that's what apparently happens. So what we speak about today is not a teaching in the sense that we talk about what is the right way to do for you, or what is the right way to be for you. And it's not coming from me being a person who has found the right or wrong way, or somehow who has learned to be in the right way. What this is about, apparently, because there is no goal in this, or what this message says apparently, is that this whole setup is a dream, that this whole setup, that there is someone who needs something, and there is the possibility of a replacement of unfulfillment by fulfillment, that this whole setup is a dream. It's an illusion. So what this basically says is there is no unfulfillment, there is no separation from unfulfillment. But there also isn't fulfillment in a sense of it being a personal experience. What happens, what apparently happens, is naturally and automatically fulfilled, kind of, but it's blindly fulfilled. It doesn't have sitting in front of a screen and being you and being me and being all the others, so to speak. Doesn't experience itself as fulfilled. It has no clue about being fulfilled or unfulfilled. It just timelessly, spacelessly is itself, one could say. And by being so, it's just naturally complete and everything. There is nothing to learn. There is no one to learn. Everything, in a way, happens by itself. Everything is itself. Learning, functioning, speaking, thinking, walking around, participating in a chat, not participating in a chat, or whatever. Everything is just itself. There is no real difference. There isn't anything which gives you something, and there isn't anything which robs something from you. Everything is just itself. Pain, pleasure, doesn't matter, anything. The whole idea that there needs to be an additional arriving, an additional seeing through the illusion. An additional sense of having found is the dream. I haven't found. There isn't anything here which has found or which lives in this experience of having arrived. No, there is no one. There is no one on a path, and no one has arrived, and no one will ever arrive, so to speak. That would be all part of the dream. In that sense, this is it. If you want to say something, please do so. And just turn on your microphone and speak. Of course, you can use the chat, but I like speaking. I noticed that reading is a lot of work. It has become a lot of work, but feel free. If you want. So nothing that will be spoken here will bring about fulfillment. Question. There is nothing to do with this message. But yes, whatever you mean with there's nothing to do with it. The thing is that there just is no message. It's not that there is what happens and then you have this message. In a way, there is no message because all there is what apparently happened. There isn't anything else, including the speaking here, of course. But yes, it's not that really something else becomes transported, an additional truth or something. There isn't what happens and a truth about it. That just is what apparently happens, which is everything. Always, so to speak, timelessly in the end. Hello?
Hello, Andreas.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good to meet you.
Nice to
Okay.
meet you. How are you?
I'm good too. I'm good too.
Cool.
See, it's not difficult to understand what you are saying.
Yes.
It is, but the thing is, like the perspective of so-called normal person, like identification with this body, mind, me here, and the world outside. So that shift from what you are seeing and what most of the people in world would see. So that shift has to take place somehow. So how does that happen?
Well, no, well, of course, we are in the story, and yes, in the story there seems to be that shift from being a person to
Mm-hmm.
the experience of being a person. But everything that I say about it would be another story. So how that actually is can't be known. In the end, it's like falling asleep in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
Seen from the person, it's just like falling asleep. It's not even anything that one can do, really. And it's not even really something that happens to the person. That's why I say, in the end, it's in the story, one could say, it's just the dissolution of the person, not by any, not really as the result of something. not really as the result of a conscious deed, so to speak.
Mhm.
But it's totally inexplainable. I can't explain it. I have no idea how this happens, honestly. There can be, what I just did was an apparent description of it, but how that is, how that happens, in the end, if it happens, that's what I mean. That it happens at all already is a story. Because the whole picture of there being someone and suddenly there being no one is very, very superficial. Because in a way, it turns out that there is no one in the first place. But that's all I can do. This apparent description. But I have no clue at all. It had nothing to do with me, so to speak. What I was working on, what my thoughts were, what I thought, what my role is and what my task is and where I'm heading towards. In the end, there was no connection. But yes, in the story, one could say this speaking doesn't come out of a personal experience. And that's why I sometimes say, well, I died. That's just what apparently happened. Yeah. But on the other hand, like in having fallen asleep, there is no one left now who is, whatever you want to call it, free, liberated, have no one having a certain view and all those things. But how? I have no idea. And as I said, even to claim that something happened at all, I can't actually. Which is the surprise, which is which is so different from what the person assumes, so to speak, which is constantly assuming that something will happen and that liberation, or whatever the word is, will be the one happening. And that just, it's just not like that. But it's also something you can't bring about. That's the other thing. There isn't anything that can be made consciously. And you can't really bring about death or falling asleep.
So, will you call it grace? It happens with grace.
Grace is just, the word grace to me is too holy. I would just say randomly. There just is no real cause and effect. There is no real reason for that. And grace also for me sounds like as if it is the better possibility, as if there is an advantage in this, as if it's, grace, something special, or as if it is what is actually meant to be. And those are all things which I can't say, because how it apparently is how it is. There is no how it actually is meant to be. That's why I don't like this grace thing. There's just no real reason for that. I think this is what this word grace may be trying to say. There is no logical reason. But
Thank you so much. Thank you.
thank you for joining. Thank you. Exactly, there was just an add up. Grace makes it sound like God has picked me out to be special. Yes, exactly. And that's how it sounds, at least. And it's absolutely not the case. It's one of those words, not the words, it's not, but in a way, it's one of those ideas which keep it on the one hand special, and on the other hand, it keeps it away. Like, of course, all the ideas of holiness or specialness. It's kind of a way for the seeker to keep it away from itself. Yeah, it's holy. That's maybe I get it, but it's far away. It can't be It doesn't really apply for me because I'm still this poor seeker deeply in the, I'm overdoing it, but, and what this is about holiness and truth and purity, and well, that's not for me yet. I'm not there. So yes, it's not special. So next question from the chat. The me is always seeking something in the future. Yes, but the future will never come. So the fulfillment will never come. Yes, exactly. It's looking for something which doesn't even exist, like an experience of fulfillment, where I'm now here, consciously present, and being able to say for the rest of my life, from a conscious observing standpoint, I have arrived. This is it. That doesn't exist. And it's not needed at all. It's part of the dream. What happens, what apparently happens, doesn't need to be recognized as anything in particular at all. And in the end, it doesn't have to be recognized as happening at all. It just doesn't need that. Okay, a question or just a comment. Grace is just another concept. Yes. This is not a concept. Yes. What apparently happens is not a concept. It just is what apparently happens. Yeah. Okay, this is a mean question for me. You mentioned the other day that over there at Andreas, there is no I. Well, there isn't an I anywhere. Yeah. But after all, how can Andreas describe and explain the I so extensively? I have no idea. Does Andreas remember all that from a time ago? From where is Andreas speaking? Out of nothing? I'm quite confused about this. Well, yeah, there isn't a real answer to this because on the one hand, one could say the speaking is just what apparently happens and it's not coming from anywhere. It's nothing and everything. So I'm not really speaking from a certain position. And what I say now is dangerous because it sounds like as if something is stored. But in a way, one could say people tell me over and over again how it feels to be I. So I don't have to remember anything from myself. Maybe that's also somewhere in there, but they just tell me that's how it feels. But I'm just repeating it. I'm just repeating what I've heard somewhere. It's empty. There is no I. It's a dream. It's a dream. It's a dream. Yes. It doesn't happen. It's not real. But again and again, there is this, oh, I am someone. I need to find enlightenment. Believe me, Andreas. Believe, and whatever, No, there isn't anyone. There is no one. But all of that isn't coming from a position. That's what I mean. What I just described, again, sounds like as if there is something storing and putting those things together, and as if I somehow have a very clear concept about what the person, no, not a single bit, not a single bit. This is just what wildly happens for no reason. There is no knowing in that. It's like functioning. It's apparent functioning. It's like saying, oh, there's a tree. Oh, you believe you are someone. All right. It's empty. It's coming from nowhere. As everything, of course. Okay, next question. Is grace a seemingly drop of a moment of the self, and we feel humility from this place? Well, whatever, grace, it can be whatever it means for you, but I can't really bring grace in there. I know what you mean. I mean, this can happen. So if there's a hole in the story and after you are back, it can feel like a very huge experience, or if something very deep has happened, of course, the person can feel blessed. Okay, next comment. A concept is created and then in the next moment it's destroyed. Yes, apparently, because even the creation of a concept isn't real and the destruction of it also not. It's just what happens.
Hey, Andreas.
Yes, hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
When you were dying,
Yes.
yeah, was there anything that you thought you were engaging in? Was there anything that you thought you were doing in order to get to someplace, or?
Oh, well, and until one could say until the end, which is a story, of course, there was the assumption that I am someone who is moving towards the future, and the future will be more deep, more it. Maybe I wasn't really dreaming about one big final arriving, but it was definitely clear that I'm moving towards the future, and in the future lies more deep, more whole, more aware. Well, kind of, not that I was not that I was really consciously playing with those concepts anymore, because I had this fading out. But of course, in a way, until the end, I thought I'm moving towards the future, and this will be better, more. Of
And you
course.
thought whatever it was you're doing was either the right or the wrong way to move towards that path.
At least, of course, at least there was the assumption that I'm playing a role in that. Somehow I was losing control, and I was much, that's how it was here. And of course, I was much more easy than years before. But of course, I just thought that I played some role in that. I mean, the thing for the person is, it thinks that at least I have to be there and aware of what happens. That's already some kind of doing, some way to be, so to speak. And yes, of course, that was there until the end. I thought what happens, the relaxation that happened for me and the falling away of concepts and seeking energy, of course, until the end, I thought this is happening to me and that it will lead me to more and deeper and better. Absolutely.
Mm.
And until the end, so to speak, it was totally incomprehensible what it would mean to fall away, so to speak. Because when I was there, all that I was operating in, of course, was the idea how it is to be there and to develop and to move on.
Because I get this feeling sometimes that I get caught up in that, and then, whoa, well, I shouldn't be doing that. But I cannot not do that.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
In any way.
In any way. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. And it doesn't matter.
Whether it's, whether it's yoga or whatever it's, trying to make my life better or whatever it is. There's no way.
No, exactly. And it would just be another doing. Or not even another doing. This is actually where the idea of doing kicks in again.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And it completely doesn't matter. And even when I say it doesn't matter, it still sounds as if I imply, yeah, it's not the actual thing, but it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter because this is it. It doesn't matter because there is no other This would all be dream.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Next question from the chat. It's weird to think that everything is unknowable with regards to these talks, to these chats. What on earth are we talking about? As there is no one, everything is completely unknowable. So there is no one talking about absolutely nothing to no one with completely zero content. That's a good sum up, yes. That kind of gets it very well. The big surprise is that it's whole and complete simultaneously. Yes, so it's all empty. Every word that's spoken here is totally empty. There's just no one doing it, but there's also no one who could stop doing it. I'm sorry about that. Next question. What is real, Andreas? Oh, nothing is real. Nothing knows anything about real and unreal. So, no answer. Question. When you are not with your son, is it feel and thought, I want to be with him? Well, maybe, why not? Yeah, why not? The thought can arise and kind of a feeling. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Why not? But it's the thing. It's the thing. In the end, it's not needed as such. It's not needed for fulfillment, of course. To then the happening of it, so to speak. Wanting something is whole and complete already. It's already wholeness. Okay, next question. Free will does not exist, but it doesn't feel right to say that world is deterministic either. How would you comment on this? Well, exactly, because both concepts happen within the assumption of there being an existence, which is deterministic, a real happening in time and space. It's much more wild and free, and it's a very boring concept actually, that it's all determined. But as I say, the concept already takes place within a reality that doesn't exist really. So yes, there's no determination. Okay. Next comment. Apparently me seems to seek the specialness of waking up so that it can claim it's finally done it. But this everything is nothing, has no achievement, specialness or hierarchy, nothing to claim. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. There's nothing that I have or you. There's nothing that you have. Already, of course. And what the person is longing for in a way is this one experience of having arrived. It experiences itself to be on a path. and it wants to finally, it's over. It's not really even about enlightenment and all those things. It's just longing for this one where I can rest. The problem is that there isn't anyone on a path at all in the first place, so it's hard to find rest. It's hard to find rest for something which isn't on a path.
Andreas?
Yes.
The other day came to my mind that there are kind of two tendencies with this seeking. And one is like this striving for something, and the other is like, and it kind of goes simultaneously, is kind of an escape or going away from something, because this, as you always describe it, can't be it.
Yes.
So can you say something about this kind of like, wie sagt man, diese Doppelbelegung, ja?
Yeah, well, I'll answer in English. Is that all right? Yeah. Well, in a way, they just go together. Actually, it's the same movement, because in a way, one could say to be present in the moment is utterly uncomfortable. So to seek for something else is on the one hand an attempt to escape. But of course, seen from the person, the attempt to escape is connected to I have, because I have to find something there.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, all seeking is kind of already, it's not conscious, and it's not, you can't really bring it on one side, but it's also an escape from this.
Yeah, yeah.
Because in a way, one could say it would be death. It's unbearable. To be in the moment, present, is unbearable, so to speak. So you have to go away from that.
And that tendency is that what keeps that illusion alive.
Exactly, yes.
So the tendency, the constant tendency to move towards or respectively away from something is kind of just fueling that illusion of a separate identity in a way, isn't that the fuel in a way? No?
Yes, one could say so. Not that it's a conscious process.
Yeah.
But exactly.
Yeah, it's clear nobody can do this, and there's nobody involved in that. It's kind of just a tendency or a mechanism or something that kind of spins itself around nothing and
Yes.
keeps it alive as a separate reality in a way, kind of.
Yes, one could say so. It's an apparent mechanism, one could, yes, which in a way just goes together. You can't really take parts out, so to speak, like now you trying to not seek or something, which would exactly try to somehow break that mechanism. All of those things don't really work, but yes.
Sure.
Yeah. In that sense, seeking leads to seeking. While in the person's experience, seeking seems utterly necessary and a good thing to do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But it's constantly confirming me. I have to be there in order to be unfulfilled and recognize the problem. I have to be there in order to know what will solve the problem. I have to be there in order to do that. And I have to be there in order to experience the result. So it's constantly, as you say, in a way, confirming the person. Being aware, noticing how it works. If I'm doing well. It's
so absurd. It's so absurd. No way to kind of put a break on this idea or this tendency or this drive.
Yes. Yes, because in a funny, yeah. I just want to say, because of course, when there is the person, even the investigation in this setup feels like, now I'm moving. So
Yeah.
But it's actually a felt thing. That's why the seeking in really isn't wrong. The experience to be present is just unpleasant. It's unbearable in the end, which is not a logical thing. It doesn't have anything to do with a wrong thinking or some of those superficial things. So the it's just, again, seen from the person, it's again natural or logical. Because it's just trying to move away from this sense of unfulfilled, from that felt, something's not it.
Mm-hmm.
In that sense, it goes together. It's not wrong to seek in that sense.
Yeah, it comes to me that it just kind of explains a bit these, let's say, traditional spiritual concepts of surrender or acceptance, because I think these are the attempts to accept that what is in between this seeking and avoiding or escaping something.
All those ideas are coming with best intentions, of course. It's like the person really trying to find out what works, what gives me this release. And it's just by experience. It's same with acceptance. It's the person experience. So when there's a struggle and suddenly there's a moment of acceptance, the person gets what it's looking for. So now we have to inquire in how can we do that? Of course, it's not wrong. But of course, the underlying assumption is, because that's what the person adds to it, the underlying assumption is that one day there will be the big acceptance. But, all right. It's all logical. And it's, as I said, it's with best intentions. And often those methods seen from the person, of course, they also seem to work. In a way, often enough, they provide what they promise, partly. Because what they actually promise, that they are a path to personal fulfillment, that never works out. But if you can accept the moment, you get a moment of release. But it's still you getting it, of course. It has nothing to do with liberation. Liberation isn't an experience of release, not at all. There's no connection. But yeah. In that sense, all of that, sometimes I say with the personal teachings and stuff, it's not wrong. It's just all personal stuff, which is also not wrong. It's a bit funny because that person doesn't exist, but but in the end, you would already need someone to be aware of that fact in order for it to be funny. In the end, it just is what happens. It's not even funny. It's just wholeness as that. And yeah, a liberation in the story would just be the crumbling of that whole thing. But not by finding. It has nothing to do with this seeking setup finally working out. Not at all. Seen from the person, death or the end of the dream happens always before I found. not when I was over, not when I was finished, not when I have found, not when I had it all together. No, always before that. In a way, the person died. Well, it's, you know, I'm overdoing, but the person always dies unfulfilled. It never found what it was looking for. It just ended.
Hi, Andreas.
Hello.
Hello. In a way, it is so crazy and unbelievable. I mean, all the seriousness, all the serious suffering, all the effort, all this desperation. It's so much desperation.
Yes.
It's not real. I mean,
Yes.
it is so crazy in a way.
Yes, it's a bit unexpected, at least. Yeah.
Because it was so serious, so seriously suffering.
Yes.
Not none of them is real. I mean, they don't really exist. How could it? This me, so full of desperation, this seeking.
Yes. Yeah, one could say so. Yes. Yeah. I don't know if that's an English word. In Germany, we would, you know, if someone loses a leg and still have pain, that's how the seeking. It's a phantom pain. That's how we would call it in Germany.
Yes, phantom pain. Yes.
It's utterly serious pain. Apparently,
yes, utterly
something
serious.
that's not even there. Yeah, but it never has been there. Yes, and it's not logical. There is absolutely no explanation for this. Why it is like that, or how this can be. Because it never really is, of course. So there's no answer to that question. But yes, yes.
Yes, and life has been, if it's life, I mean, I have to say it, has been always so innocently open without any layers and remains unknown, actually. It has no secret,
Yes.
but
Yes.
at the same time, totally unknown.
Totally. And the funny thing is, or the unexpected thing is, there's on the one hand, the suffering and the longing isn't real, but on the other hand, while it happened, it was whole and complete already.
The last thing I haven't heard.
And it was illusory and not real, the longing and the desperation. But on the other hand, even while it happened, it was whole and complete.
Yes, yes, that is too crazy.
But which can't be, yes, it's not logical or can't be explained, or no one can tell how that is.
No.
That there is desperate and all. Well, yes. Yes.
Incomprehensible.
Yes.
Incomprehensible. Yes.
Yes.
And then it's like, alongside the desperation and the incomprehensibility of it, there's a humour, and you know, sometimes you know, when you're at Buckland, there'll be someone will start laughing, and one of the main protagonists of the laughter is on this call, and then it's almost like there's a recognition that in the laughter of the nothingness that we're talking about, and yet we and sometimes it's contagious, and it will just sort of grow and grow and grow, and then it'll die, and it's like, oh, now we're back, or we kind of like we've gone away. It's as if we've gone away somewhere, but we couldn't quite fall over or fall into it. And I know that's just a silly way to say. And Tony, you know, sometimes when he introduces the meetings, he talks about the role of humour in unravelling the knot or unlayering the onion, as you know, sort of Joey's sort of described it as in the last few calls and stuff. But it's that alongside the everything and nothing, you've got this seemingly got this desperation and humor running alongside each other at the same time.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, this is
Yeah.
what apparently happens, and that's the joy, and that's the apparent joy of this mess. Well, it's in the story, But of course, you get this together because on the one hand, there can be this deep longing and the deep desperation about not finding it. And exactly that utter seriousness, this deeply drama is unraveled to be an illusion. It's not real. The person's worst nightmare isn't real. Of course, that's joy.
Yeah, I sometimes think it would be a nice idea to kind of package up all the jokes that emerge out of this. And
but it's not a method. It's not in order to do something. It's not in order to be funny or something. But of course, this is kind of the energy of this, constantly saying, not for any reason, but constantly saying, it's not real. It's not real.
Yeah.
I have to find enlightenment. It's not real.
Yeah, I kind of meant the idea of the jokes in the same way that you guys have written the books. There's no method or intention in the books, but they just got written. So it would just be why not? Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, what you describe, what seems to be that's what apparently happens too. Like it feels almost as if there can be a falling over, and suddenly one is just back to normal. What to do? That's it.
Andreas?
Yes.
Hello. Just following on from the last comment and your books.
Yeah.
It's not really important because what's being said tonight is, and what you said 2 nights ago and how it was for you, or however you put it was, I was fascinated. But in your book, you mentioned, and I had never heard you talk then, about, you bleeding out, this losing of...
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? Because I read it and thinking, and of course I wanted something. Oh, this could,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a bit mean with telling stories. It sounds as if it has to be like that or anything, but it's just my story. Well, bleeding out was kind of a not so nice description of fading out. But I liked it because I was in the story. One could say the assumption that I am someone was just fading out. But it had.
Sorry, but were you there on the sidelines saying?
No, exactly, not at all. That's the thing. For me, it was a normal experience to be alive. There was no awareness that I'm actually moving towards death. And that's what I like the picture with the bleeding out. It was just life running out of me. But of course, as long as there was a little bit of a life left, I felt I am someone who's alive. No, there was no awareness of the me will die. Not a single bit. Because I just thought I am someone who's on a path.
Thank you. And then another thing that's always got me, not from what you're saying particularly, but Tony, when some people talk of an initial awakening or a glimpse, they're very strong. What is it that happens where, as Tony was said, I came out the other side? What's happening there if it was such a wow sort of moment?
I mean, the story could be, but it's all within a story, so there is no real answer. But what seems to be happening is that just the contrast can be quite strong. So you have been me for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and suddenly out of nowhere, there is a hole in that. That can be quite impressive.
But the me comes back.
Yes, exactly. And so it comes back and say, wow, what was that? That was so different from anything I ever experienced, so to speak. Yeah. But
Thank you, Andreas.
thank you. Okay, I go on in the chat. Yes, there's a comment. Yes, there's already nothing. The me can only claim something. Yes, it's an apparent claiming. Yeah. Okay, next one. Everything runs automatically, including the seeking. Yes, yes. That's the unexpected thing, that you'll never find anyone behind anything, not even behind the illusion to be someone. Even there isn't a person in that. There is no one imprisoned in the illusion to be someone. It's just what apparently happens. And even to call it an illusion may give it a negative connotation. It's not meant negatively, but it's just what happens. With all apparent consequences, of course, like longing and desperation and trying to do life, and sometimes having the illusion of succeeding and sometimes having the illusion of failing and all that stuff. Yes, in that sense, it's all automatic. There isn't anyone running the show. No persons, no eyes, no God, no divine energy, no consciousness, no devil, no dark forces. Yes. Okay, next question. What makes personal fulfillment impossible? Well, it makes it impossible because there is no person to become fulfilled. That's what makes it impossible. There is no person. Okay, next question. It's strange that the person just assumes it knows stuff. Although I guess it actually knows it can't know anything because it needs continuous confirmation. Exactly. That's the thing. It doesn't know anything at all ever. It's illusory. Knowing is illusory. Nothing is known ever. And as you said, it's another method. You have to remember again and again. It's not that you know one time that there is no one, for example, if it is in that circumstance, and then you know it. No. Whenever the person has a bad experience, it has to tell itself again what it knows. Yes, in order to remember it. And of course, it constantly lives in a story about how it is, and it has to constantly work on that story. Because of course, every moment there's a new aspect, something new happens, so it has to include this, but it has to constantly keep up knowing that. She writes, wow, that's amazing. All knowing an illusion. Yes, absolutely, all of it. 1 + 1 is 2. There is no one. There is a world. There are people. I go shopping today. I am. It's all unknowable. All those things aren't things that exist. This is I'm looking to a computer. There's a tree. There's a chair. Whatever. It's all empty. Nothing can be known. All there is whole. Is there sitting in a room? Unknowable. Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't matter, of course. Nothing ever was known. It was a dreamt reality to live in knowing. What exactly mean empty? Well, empty of reality, empty of content, empty of meaning, empty of, in the end, content. The person has the assumption that things are things, but additionally, as if they have a content, a story, a reality, an essence, that they are made out of something, that the chair is made out of something, that it carries meaning and a story and reality, that it has a place in in existence, that it has a place and the purpose and all that stuff. But nothing has that. Nothing contains reality. Nothing contains truth or an essence or what it actually is or all those things. It's complete. It's ungraspable. It's empty. That there isn't anything which can be cut out and known. Impossible. Oh. Hi, Andreas. Can you say something about jealousy? Not really. If it is all random, why can I be envious at people who have success or better life? Well, in the end, you already gave the answer, because it's all random. Because there is no answer to that. There is no answer to why it is as it is, so to speak. And jealousy is a story, of course. Because there are no people to be jealous of. But there can be understanding that others have much more than I have. That's functioning. That's all right. But when you start to think that there are real people, then you can start to become jealous. So jealousy itself is a story. But other people have much more money can cause sadness or question marks. How is that going to happen?
Hi, Andreas.
Hello.
It is absolutely impossible
Yes.
for me to even get close to what this freedom is, this aliveness, or that like full on would be in any way acceptable. It just cannot comprehend.
Yeah.
In no way how it already is complete.
Including itself being there, apparently. Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
It's just impossible for me to even come close.
Yes, because the whole idea of coming close already is based on an illusion. But yes, they never meet. Yes.
There would never be an idea that would like closely even to explain. It's too free, like
Yeah.
too all. It's just this.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There is no meeting of the personal experience and wholeness. In the end, as I said, there is no meeting because they aren't even separate. But yes, that's the thing. I mean, the person just lives in this in this truth of there being something. And it's over because there isn't something. What is no thing. What is already the case, so to speak. The person is always assuming this something, this abstract, additional, absolute reality, essence, sense, meaning, what life is actually about, why I'm actually here. Yeah, sitting with Andreas is all right, but I want to become enlightened. Maybe this helps me, but I'm totally, it lives in this totally artificial reality, which has nothing to do in that sense with what apparently happens. Yeah. There is no coming closer.
No, it's impossible. It's
impossible. Exactly. And it's not impossible because it's so utterly far away and utterly special. In the end, it's impossible because it's exactly what happens. And how it already is. And how you already are. And how I already am. And how I already was. And And the person is there and saying, yeah, but I want to see that. I want to see that. No, you don't. You don't have to see that. There is no seeing of this.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Andreas, really quickly, I think also what is why it's impossible, because there's that feeling of there's really something wrong with me because I don't see this. So I have to set that right.
Yeah.
Before I have to make myself worthy of being accepted by this wholeness, or even, you know, that's the basis of all religions, you know, is I have to purify myself, I have to meditate more, I have to take the body of Christ, you know, I have to accept Allah in order to be whole. I have to be good enough because this thing that I feel inside me that is separate from everything is definitely not good enough, you know. I definitely have to do something.
Yes.
And it also is the powerlessness of whatever my actions are completely futile.
Yeah.
That's absolutely unacceptable, because that means that I have absolutely zero effect or influence on what happens whatsoever. So I can't ever accept that.
Yes. True. Yeah. Absolutely true. Yes. Because in a way it's unacceptable because it contradicts the person's experience. Because its damn experience is I am separate and I am able to do something, at least theoretically. Even when I'm totally helpless, I actually potentially theoretically could be able to do or should be able to. Yeah. Yeah. That's part of its apparent suffering, so to speak. Yeah.
And it all goes together in one big bundle.
Exactly. It's just one big thing. You can't take aspects out. Like I am, but when I accept that I can't do anything, then I feel a little bit better. But the whole idea of I could accept that is already based again on the assumption that you could do something. It's just exactly. Yes.
And by doing something, I'm constantly rejecting this.
Yes, in the end, in a very funny way, already by experiencing oneself. You know, that's just automatic. The moment you are someone, you live in separation. Apparently, not really, but that's the dream. And out of that already needs the attempt to do something.
It's like what Roland was.
Remain present isn't the answer either. It would be another doing. Sorry.
No. I'm saying like what Roland was saying earlier, you know, it's like the seeking is the pushing away of it at the same time.
At the same time, exactly.
It's one movement.
Absolutely, it's one movement.
Because
That's
I
why
think I want something else. I want to grab on something else. But by that action, I am already rejecting what is, because I need to have something better than what is.
Absolutely, yes, including acceptance. It's not good how it is. I first have to accept it to make it good for me. No, it's already circling around in the dream. And it's already rejected. There is no need to make what happens good for oneself. It's not needed. It's just not needed. And that's the constant struggle and the constant work to make what happens good for me. As if it was bad right away. It's already, in that moment, it's already rejected. When you try to accept, it's already rejected, so to speak.
Thanks.
Yeah. That's why it's too late. When you want to accept, it's too late already. Nothing needs that acceptance. As if the bad feeling cares about you accepting it or not. It's already there anyway.
Yeah, me is always too late.
So to speak, yes. Yes.
In a way, that's the whole experience of it, really, because whatever happens, it attaches itself to that action.
Yes.
A bit late.
And it's constantly saying, I'm not there yet. This wasn't it yet. I'm not there yet. I have to run a little bit more. Yeah. And of course, this idea that I have to run and I have to be there when it happens, of course, confirms its own existence. Because the running includes, of course, that I have to be there when it happens. I have to quickly arrive in the future because maybe then it's good. But it's all based on the idea that I'm there and I have to be there. That again is part of that whole bubble.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I just do the last three comments. A question, Andreas, could you hypothetically form a story in your head and get jealous if your partner flirts, for example, with another man? We were thinking about that, and actually I can hardly imagine it, to be honest. Jealousy, I don't know. If it's fun, why shouldn't she do it? I don't know. I can't. I would have been 10 years ago or something. I could have made up that story, but that doesn't mean anything, as I say. That's just, but jealousy, as I say, is really hardly imaginable. All kinds of feelings, maybe. But jealous in a sense that she shouldn't do that, or that she betrayed me as a person or anything. Hardly imaginable, to be honest. But I don't know. Next. Oh, well, I apparently know that, actually. Well, next thing, the illusion of the Maya. Maya means measuring of what happens in the natural reality that becomes our illusory reality or experiences. Measuring and comparing this and that. Yes, one could say the person is constantly measuring by experiencing things. It's constantly aware of the moment, and it's constantly asking, is this good for my fulfillment or not? Is it good to meet this person? Does it bring me peace? Does it give me joy? Is it good to attend Andreas's talks, or is it bad? In that sense, it's constantly comparing and judging its actual experience. Of course, with best intentions, it doesn't want to miss something. It wants to do the right thing. It wants to have the right experience. It wants to be in the right place, always regarding its idea of, will this give me something or not? Is it right to be here or not? That's the constant judging of what apparently happens. Absolutely, that's seeking. Yes. It's hopeless, someone else says. Absolutely. It's hopeless, of course, because there is nothing else. There isn't anything to hope for, and there isn't anything to get or to gain. What apparently happens, is naturally whole and complete. There isn't anything else. There's nothing to find. There is nothing really to hope for in a sense of maybe this will give me fulfillment. No, there is no person. There is no unfulfillment, and there is no need for fulfillment as a personal experience. Not at all. It's just ordinarily is as it is. It's this, and it's naturally fine and okay. Thank you very much, and I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you,
Thank
Andreas.
you.
Thank you, Andreas. Thank
very
you.
much, Andreas.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Nice to see you.
Bye.
Beautiful
Bye.
day.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Andreas.
Andreas, bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Andreas.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you, Andreas.